There is a moment, a silence so profound it is almost imperceptible, a fleeting stillness that descends upon the soul. In this quietude, an ancient, undeniable truth whispers from the deepest core of your being. You are not meant for this place. This realization is not born of logic or reason. It is a primal knowing that rises, unbidden, to challenge the life you have so carefully constructed. You feel it in the job that leaches the color from your world, in the hollow echo of a relationship that offers only a phantom of connection, in the exhausting, relentless cycle of profound yearning and perpetual lack. On the surface, presented on the cold, hard paper of logic, everything appears to be in order, a carefully assembled portrait of a life that should be fulfilling. Yet, your soul, that untamable, essential part of you, knows the terrible truth. It recognizes the gilded cage. This persistent discomfort, this unshakable restlessness that shadows your days and haunts your nights, is not a testament to your failure. It is a powerful, sacred signal, a desperate transmission sent across the ether from a version of you who has already broken free. This other you, this radiant being, already inhabits the reality you have only dared to visualize in your most secret dreams. It is a life lived in perfect, harmonious alignment with your deepest purpose. A reality where your energy is not squandered, but is pure, crystalline, and potent. In that existence, your external world is a flawless mirror, reflecting the highest frequency of your soul. Do not mistake this for a mere fantasy or a trick of the imagination. That version of you is not a distant dream, but a tangible, parallel existence. It is as real as you are. And today, we shall embark on a journey into the very heart of science, exploring the profound principles that prove you are not merely hoping to connect with this higher self, but that you are, in fact, already inextricably linked to it, bound by forces that defy our classical understanding of the universe. This exploration transcends wishful thinking. It is a deep dive into the foundational truth that within the boundless quantum field, every reality you have ever desired, every dream you have ever held, already exists as a fully formed potentiality waiting for you. More than that, it is already entangled with your very essence. Quantum entanglement is not some esoteric theory confined to the strange, invisible world of subatomic particles. It is a universal principle, a mirror reflecting the intricate, interwoven nature of consciousness itself, showing us how timelines and identity are profoundly intertwined beyond the crude limitations of space and time. And that chasm you perceive, the painful gap that seems to stretch between the person you are today and the magnificent life you yearn to live. It is not a void of despair. It is a bridge. The ache you feel is the tension of this bridge, the painful resonance of a soul caught between two worlds. A part of you remains anchored to the old, familiar frequency of limitation, while another, braver part is desperately trying to shift, to recalibrate, to tune into the frequency of the person it already knows it is destined to become. Let us be unequivocally clear. This journey is not about the crude act of attracting your dream life, as if it were something separate from you. It is about the sublime realization that this life is already trying to reach you, calling to you across the quantum field. The tragedy is that you cannot receive this transmission. You cannot meet this glorious reality. From the compromised identity that continues to vibrate with the dense, heavy energies of fear, scarcity, and doubt. You are blind to a reality that exists beyond the familiar emotional patterns you have rehearsed day after day, year after year. The transformation required is not a change in your external environment, but a seismic shift within your own energetic field. In the rigorously defined world of science, quantum entanglement describes a phenomenon where two particles, once connected, become eternally linked in a mysterious and intimate dance. Their fates are intertwined, regardless of the vast distances that may separate them. When a change is induced in one, its partner responds instantaneously, with no discernible signal passing between them, no measurable delay, just a pure, immediate, and inexplicable interaction. Now, dare to consider the staggering implications of this law when applied not to particles, but to you. What if this same unbreakable principle governs the connection between you and the version of you who is already triumphant, already living the life you so deeply desire? What if your every emotion, your every choice, the very energy you emit in this present moment, is actively entangling with your future, either corrupting it with static or clarifying its signal? You are, in every instant, altering that future or aligning with it, depending entirely on the frequency you choose to embody right now. You have been fed a narrative of manifestation that involves asking, visualizing, and then passively waiting for the universe to grant your wishes. But the profound truth is far more empowering. You are not summoning anything from the void. You are remembering. You are reconnecting with a part of yourself that has never been separate. You are realigning your own distorted frequency to match the pure, coherent signal of a timeline that has been patiently waiting for you to vibrate in perfect harmony with it. This is the source of the immense struggle when you feel stuck. It is the friction of your own internal division. A part of you knows, with absolute certainty, that you were born to leap, to soar into a new reality. Yet, another part, conditioned by a lifetime of programming, clings desperately to the low-frequency vibrations of survival, logic, and the illusion of safety. But true quantum transformation is never born from playing it safe. It is born from the courage to resonate with the unknown. What if the profound ache that defines your existence is not the pain of absence, but the immense pressure of your dream life's presence? Trying to break through, trying to align with your current, resistant self. What if the reality you have been relentlessly chasing is already here, pressing in on all sides, and your only task is to finely tune yourself like a finely calibrated antenna? Your work is to cease broadcasting the frantic, chaotic signals of fear, and to begin, with unwavering intention, to broadcast from a place of unshakable belief. This is not merely an explanation. It is a transmission, a living map, a sacred reminder of an ancient, forgotten wisdom that sleeps within your very bones. You have always known this truth. You are a quantum being. Your reality is eternally entangled with a sea of infinite potentials. And right now, in this sacred, pulsing moment, the life you crave is not asking to be painstakingly created. It is asking to be remembered, to be felt, to be claimed. So, if you have been languishing in the agonizing space between what is and what could be, I implore you to stay here, to breathe deeper into this moment. Because the space between your current life and your dream life is not empty. It is sacred, it is holy, and it is charged with the explosive power of pure possibility. When you finally learn to sync with it, when your own energy becomes a coherent, focused beam, everything in your universe will begin to respond. Not because the universe has finally heard your pleas, but because you have finally become the version of yourself that can hear its eternal, loving reply. We exist within a universe that defies the simplistic, mechanical laws we were taught to believe in. For centuries, humanity has been shackled to the belief that reality is a linear, solid, predictable thing, an external phenomenon happening to us. But the seismic discoveries of quantum physics have utterly shattered that primitive illusion. At the very epicenter of this paradigm shift lies one of the most mysterious, powerful, and reality-bending phenomena ever observed by science: quantum entanglement. When two particles interact within a quantum system, they become bound together, so deeply and completely connected that their individual states cease to exist independently. What befalls one is instantaneously mirrored in the other. A perfect and immediate reflection that transcends all known laws of space and time, defying any conceivable physical connection. Albert Einstein, baffled by its implications, famously called it spooky action at a distance. But this phenomenon is far more than just spooky. It is revolutionary. Why does this abstract scientific principle hold the key to your personal liberation? Because you are not, and have never been, separate from the quantum field in which all possibilities exist. You are not an isolated being, adrift in a cold, indifferent cosmos. You are profoundly connected to the version of you who is already living your most idealized life. This principle dictates that once a connection is forged at the quantum level, that link becomes eternal, transcending the illusions of time and space. And if consciousness itself is not a localized phenomenon, if your awareness, as a growing body of scientific evidence now suggests, is an integral part of the quantum field, then it logically follows that you are already linked to every potential version of yourself that exists across the infinite spectrum of reality. Your dream life is not waiting for you in some distant, unattainable future. It is here, now, encoded as a potent probability within the field, patiently awaiting the moment your personal frequency becomes resonant enough to activate it, to interact with it, to call it into form. Let us ground this cosmic concept in a more relatable analogy. Imagine two people, located on opposite ends of the earth, who share a deep, invisible, and unspoken bond. Without any physical communication, they begin to think of each other at the exact same moment. They experience eerily similar dreams. They undergo parallel transformations in their lives, one changing in perfect sync with the other. This is not the stuff of fantasy. This is a macroscopic reflection of entanglement in action. Now magnify this concept and apply it to yourself. Imagine you, right now, in your current state, and simultaneously, a version of you who has already taken the leap, who has healed the wounds, who lives in a state of grace and abundance, whose every action is infused with purpose and clarity. Because you are entangled, any shift in your personal energy can instantaneously begin to influence and align with the frequency of that higher timeline. This is not a metaphor. These are the fundamental dynamics of the quantum field. This field, this sea of infinite probabilities, is not bound by the limitations of geography or chronology. It is a living, intelligent medium that responds not to your linear logic, but to your state of being. If your state of being is saturated with anxiety, fear, and doubt, you will inevitably entangle with realities that perfectly reflect and validate those very frequencies. If, however, you can cultivate a state of being that is clear, elevated, and coherent, you will naturally entangle with the version of reality that is already a vibrational match to that state. This is not about forcing an outcome. It is about matching a frequency. As the renowned Dr. Joe Dispenza so eloquently states, the quantum field responds not to what we want, it responds to who we are being. This is the essence of entanglement in practical, real-world terms. When your focused intention is supercharged with an elevated emotion, you generate coherence, and it is this coherence that commands the attention of the field, causing it to respond and rearrange itself around your new signal. Think of it as tuning a cosmic radio, your dream life, the one where you are aligned, fulfilled, and truly free, is a specific frequency that is already being broadcast continuously and without fail. If your own receiver is tuned to a different, chaotic wavelength, filled with the static of negativity and fear, you will never be able to hear that beautiful song. But the moment you learn to meticulously tune your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your very sense of identity, you no longer have to chase the signal. You become the receiver, and the music of that higher reality flows to you effortlessly. Herein lies your true power. Entanglement is not a passive state of being. It is not merely about being connected. It is about how you consciously and actively influence that connection through the choices you make in the here and now. Every thought you allow to take root and repeat. Every emotion you surrender to. Every version of yourself you choose to embody or resist. Each of these is a potent signal sent out into the field. You are the transmitter, and the field is forever listening. You have been conditioned by a world that teaches manifestation through hollow repetition, through scripting words on a page, through empty techniques that lack energetic potency. But the quantum world operates on a different, more profound principle: alignment. This is why countless people can repeat affirmations until they are hoarse and see absolutely no change in their reality. Because the words themselves are meaningless if the frequency vibrating behind them is incoherent and out of alignment. However, when you truly align your internal state, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions become one unified signal, the field has no alternative but to mirror that coherence back to you. So, yes, entanglement is a concept with deep roots in science, but it is also an experience that is profoundly spiritual. It reveals the ultimate truth that your dream life is not and never was separate from you. You are not at the mercy of luck or timing, or even action in the conventional sense you were taught. You are simply waiting on resonance. You are waiting to remember that the gap between where you are and where you long to be is already bridged by the infinite intelligence of the quantum field. It is already connected. Once you grasp this monumental truth, your work is no longer to strive and to reach, but to tune. Your goal is not to attract, but to sync. The implications of this are so profound, they can shatter your entire worldview. It means that nothing is truly beyond your reach. It means the field is in a constant state of response to your being, even when you cannot perceive its subtle movements. And most importantly, it means that your identity, the one you consciously choose to inhabit moment by precious moment, is the master key that unlocks the timeline that has always and will always be yours. If it is true that you are already quantumly entangled with your dream life, then the great burning question arises: why has it not materialized? Why does the version of you who is radiantly free, effortlessly abundant, and deeply purposeful still feel like a distant, ethereal concept instead of your tangible, lived experience? The answer is at once profoundly confronting and gloriously liberating. You are not yet tuned to its frequency. The entanglement is a fact. It is a fundamental law of the quantum universe. But consciously tuning into that connection is a matter of vibration, not of mere desire. You do not manifest the reality you want. You manifest the reality that is a vibrational match to your field. And that field is sculpted not by the words you speak or the wishes you make, but by the frequency you are consistently, emotionally, and often unconsciously broadcasting into the universe. The vast majority of people are sleepwalking through their lives, trapped in a tragic loop, rehearsing the painful frequencies of their past day after day. They awaken each morning and are immediately consumed by the same corrosive emotions, the same gnawing frustration, the same suffocating anxiety, the same pervasive sense of lack. This is not a conscious choice, but a deeply ingrained addiction of the nervous system to these familiar, toxic states of being. And every single time they allow themselves to feel these emotions, they are reinforcing their entanglement with timelines that can only deliver more experiences to match that precise emotional reality. The quantum field is a neutral, impartial mirror. It does not pass judgment. It does not punish or reward. It simply reflects. If you are perpetually stuck in a state of fear, it will reflect a world filled with situations that confirm and amplify your fear. If you are locked into a mindset of scarcity, it will respond with experiences that deepen and reinforce that sense of lack. This is not a punishment, it is feedback. The universe is not ignoring your desires. It is flawlessly mirroring your being. And here we arrive at the most difficult truth to accept. The majority of this vibrational broadcasting happens beneath the threshold of your conscious awareness. Your subconscious mind, meticulously programmed by your earliest childhood experiences, your deepest traumas, and the relentless conditioning of society, is constantly projecting a version of reality that feels familiar, even if that familiarity is agonizingly painful. This sense of familiarity creates a powerful magnetic pull, keeping you tethered to the past. This is the hidden reason why people find themselves repeating the same disastrous relationship patterns, facing the same financial struggles, and battling the same issues of self-worth over and over again, despite their conscious and sincere efforts to change. Their conscious mind is striving for a new future, but their vibrational identity is still deeply aligned with the person they have always been, not the person they are striving to become. You cannot hope to tune into a higher, more refined frequency while you are still clinging desperately to the dense, heavy patterns of your past. You cannot collapse a new, radiant timeline into your reality while you are simultaneously defending the old one with your every thought, your every choice, and your every word of self-talk. The mission is to become so fundamentally incompatible with the frequency of your old life that it can no longer sustain itself in your presence. This demands that you consciously break the powerful addiction to certain negative emotions. It requires you to relentlessly interrupt the limiting stories you have been telling yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. Most critically, it means awakening to the fact that your current emotional baseline is the single most powerful force in your entire process of manifestation. It is not your meticulously crafted vision board, nor how often you dutifully write in your journal. It is not even how well you can meditate when your life is calm and peaceful. It is the vibration you choose to hold when you are triggered. It is the choice you make in the face of fear, doubt, and overwhelming fatigue. Because in those crucible moments, the universe is not listening to your words. It is listening to your field, and your field is shaped by what you embody, not by what you intend. So, what is truly blocking you from syncing with your dream life? It is not that you are doing something incorrectly. It is that you are still profoundly entangled with the version of you that believes this transformation is hard, or that it is not possible, or that it is not safe to change. That identity broadcasts a powerful, restrictive signal, and the field, in its perfect neutrality, simply reflects that signal back to you. You have been trying to manifest abundance from an identity of lack, and then wondering why abundance remains elusive. You have been visualizing freedom while your body remains in a state of energetic contraction, and the ever-responsive field is simply doing its job by mirroring that contraction. But the moment you recognize this dynamic, you reclaim your sovereign power. You cease the desperate chasing and begin the deliberate work of reprogramming. You stop asking for permission and start aligning your being. And then, sometimes slowly, and sometimes with breathtaking speed, your reality begins to shift and reorganize itself around you. Not because the world itself changed, but because you did. You finally tuned into a frequency that already contained the glorious version of you that you were once chasing. And once you achieve that state of resonance, the outer world has no choice but to recalibrate. It simply cannot do otherwise. That is the immutable law of the quantum universe. You do not need to do more. You need to become more coherent, more present, more emotionally congruent with the reality you wish to inhabit. The field does not respond to what you think you deserve. It responds to what you actually embody. This is the secret of those people who seem to manifest their desires with an effortless grace. They are not trying harder than you are. They are simply resonating with a clearer, more powerful signal. So I urge you to ask yourself these difficult but essential questions. What are the emotional patterns that I am unconsciously rehearsing every day, entangling me with realities that I no longer desire? What are the limiting beliefs that I am still broadcasting into the field as my truth? And am I truly willing to release them? Not because they are inherently wrong, but because they are no longer resonant with the magnificent reality I am now choosing to experience. Because the instant you release them, The moment you create that sacred, empty space, something truly remarkable begins to happen. The version of you that has been waiting so patiently in the quantum field finally has a clear channel to respond. The signs begin to appear, the synchronicities start to multiply, and the path forward unfolds before you. Not because it was suddenly created, but because you finally aligned with the frequency where it has always existed. Now that you understand with certainty that the quantum field is already inextricably entangled with your most desired reality, the central question of your life is no longer, how do I get there? The question transforms into something far more immediate and powerful. How do I tune into it? Today, right now, with the person I already am. The answer, mercifully, is simpler than most people dare to believe. Because authentic manifestation is not a frantic chase. It is not about scripting the perfect words or waiting for some external permission to be granted. It is about the cultivation of coherence, the creation of an internal alignment so powerful and so unwavering that the quantum field has no choice but to respond. Your dream life is not waiting for you to do more. It is waiting for you to become vibrationally compatible with its existence. This requires a ritual, not in a mystical or superstitious sense, but in a precise, energetic one. This ritual has nothing to do with candles or crystals. It is about the disciplined application of presence, precision, and persistence. And it begins with the conscious selection of your identity. Every single morning, before the chaotic momentum of the world pulls you into its vortex, you must pause and ask yourself a life-altering question. Who am I choosing to be entangled with today? Will it be the version of me that is still hopelessly tied to the familiar frequencies of fear and mindless repetition? Or will it be the version of me that already lives and breathes in a state of freedom, alignment, and crystalline clarity? This higher version of you already exists, not as a vague, distant ideal, but as an active, pulsating frequency in the quantum field. Your first task, therefore, is to name this version, to give it form. Not a form born of fantasy, but one rich with emotional texture. What does this version of you feel upon waking? What is this being believed to be true about money, about love, about time, about the very nature of possibility? What are the decisions they make effortlessly, without a moment's hesitation? Next, you must move into the crucial phase of embodiment. You must take one small yet powerful action that is in perfect alignment with that higher frequency. This action is not taken to achieve a specific result, but to broadcast your newfound coherence into the field. You might clean and order your personal space as if it were already the pristine environment of your future self. You might speak to someone as that higher version would, with more certainty, more calm, more unconditional grace. You might finally say no to an obligation that feels heavy with the energy of the past, and say yes to an opportunity that reflects the light of the future. Every single one of these micro-actions becomes a potent signal to the universe, a definitive confirmation that you are no longer attempting to manifest something external to you. You are, instead, stabilizing something internal, and the universe must respond accordingly. Now comes the vital practice of emotional encoding. You close your eyes and begin to breathe, slowly and deliberately. With each sacred breath, you visualize not the things you want to acquire, but the person you already are on that higher timeline. More importantly, you must feel it in every cell of your body. You must consciously generate the elevated emotions of gratitude, certainty, and joy. Not because your new reality has arrived yet, but because it is already real on another plane of existence, and you are making the choice to sync with it in the now. The latest findings in neuroscience conclusively show that our brain and body begin to physically rewire themselves when we combine a clear, focused intention with a powerful, elevated emotion. This is not wishful thinking. This is the science of neuroplasticity and quantum entrainment in dynamic motion. Practice this with unwavering consistency, and something miraculous will begin to shift within you. The old identity, which was once so dominant and unyielding, starts to lose its gravitational pull on your soul. You will begin to notice that you no longer resonate with the same conversations, the same limiting patterns, or the same dense energies that used to feel as comfortable as home. This is not a loss to be mourned. It is a profound vibrational liberation. It is the undeniable proof that you are successfully detaching from the version of you that was blocking the signal, and finally synchronizing with the version of you that has been transmitting it all along. So, here is your sacred invitation. This is not a mere technique, not a clever trick, but a profound ritual of remembrance. Every morning, ask, "Who am I entangled with?" Every afternoon, ask, "What small action can I take to reaffirm my new identity?" Every evening, as you drift off to sleep, ask, "What frequency am I marinating in? Contraction or coherence?" You do not need to achieve perfection in this practice. You only need to be consistent, because every single time you repeat this process, you are strengthening and clarifying your signal. And eventually, the field will have no alternative but to mirror it back to you. This is not magic. It is the fundamental law of resonant physics. And now, in this moment, you are being offered a chance for alignment. Not just to passively listen, but to actively embody this truth. If you can feel this truth resonating in your body, if a deep part of you already knows that this is the shift you have been desperately waiting for, then make the declaration, "I am synced." Let the field register your decision. Let your future self know you are on your way. Let your subconscious mind record this new, powerful signal. This is not just a collection of words. It is an energetic declaration, a vibrational anchor, a decisive and powerful shift into coherence. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer hoping. You are synchronizing. And when you do that, everything changes. Not because you forced it to, but because you finally aligned with the version of you who no longer needs to chase, but who simply broadcasts their truth and allows the universe to respond. The great illusion for most people is that nothing is happening. They dutifully follow the prescribed practices. They meditate, they visualize, they journal, they repeat their affirmations. And yet, their outer world remains stubbornly, painfully unchanged. From this limited perspective, they conclude that the system is broken, that perhaps this cosmic law works for others, but not for them. What they are tragically missing is this fundamental truth. The field is always responding, not just sometimes. Not only when your belief is strong enough, always. The challenge is never in getting the field to work. The challenge is in recognizing how it is already working, flawlessly, in every moment of your existence. Your reality, as it stands right now, is a perfect, unerring mirror of the frequency your field has been consistently broadcasting. It is not a reflection of what you hoped for, nor is it a reflection of the fleeting moments of positivity you tried to use to override your deeper patterns. It is a reflection of what you have embodied over time. Your dominant thought patterns, your habitual emotional states, your deepest subconscious stories. All of it has been entangled with the probabilities that are a perfect vibrational match. The evidence of this perfect mirroring is all around you. It is in the quality of your relationships, the flow or stagnation of your finances, the health and vitality of your body, your very perception of time. All of it is simply feedback. It is not punishment, nor is it a reward. It is pure, unbiased resonance. The unvarnished truth is that the quantum field does not respond to momentary peaks of elevated emotion. It responds to consistent patterns of being. You can have one transcendent moment of clarity and alignment, but if you then spend the next 23 hours rehearsing self-doubt, anxiety, and the need to control everything, which signal do you honestly believe the field will choose to stabilize around? Will it be your highest, most fleeting moment, or your most repeated, dominant frequency? It is in this gap, the chasm between what they consciously desire and what they habitually broadcast, that most people remain hopelessly stuck. But it is right here that the profound shift can begin. At the precise moment you stop waiting for bombastic, undeniable signs from the heavens and start to honor the small, subtle nudges from within. That quiet gut feeling that cautions, don't go there today. The gentle, loving urge to rest instead of relentlessly overperforming. The soft, inner voice that whispers, you are already enough. These are not random, meaningless impulses. These are fragments of coherence, slivers of light from your future reality, leaking into your now, gently nudging you toward the path of alignment. But if you consistently ignore them because they are not dramatic, because they are not instantaneous, because they lack external validation from the outside world, you miss the sacred opening. You delay the collapse of the wave function that would bring your new reality into being. You must understand that your dream life does not arrive in one thunderous, dramatic moment of revelation. It crystallizes into form through a series of small, internal permissions. The moment you choose to speak with a little more truth, the moment you cease trying to force an outcome and instead open yourself to receive, the moment you find the courage to walk away from something that is comfortably familiar but energetically misaligned. These moments are the quantum levers of creation, infinitesimal micro-choices that have monumental macro consequences. This is because the field does not require your strenuous effort. It requires your unwavering congruence. And when you finally begin to trust this feedback system, when you stop measuring the success of your reality only through what is physically visible and start sensing the subtle, energetic alignment that lies just beneath the surface, you begin to notice something truly radical. The field is not some distant, abstract force. It is immediate, it is alive, it is intimately responsive. And it is listening intently for who you are now, not for who you are trying to become someday. So you tune in. You act from a place of alignment, even when the 3D world has not yet caught up. You choose to embody trust, even when your logical mind is screaming for proof. You hold, with sacred discipline, the emotional signature of the version of you who has already received it all. And when you do that with enough consistency, reality itself will begin to bend and reconfigure around you. Not because you have manipulated it, but because you have finally, truly resonated with it. The quantum field does not respond to what is loud and demanding. It responds to what is stable and consistent. It is not moved by the fleeting excitement of a single meditation, but by the unwavering coherence of a lifestyle. It is not impressed by the hype of a vision board, but by the profound integrity of your everyday presence. That is what creates the collapse of potential into reality. That is what accelerates the convergence of timelines. That is what brings the timeline of your dream life out of the ethereal realm of potential and into solid, tangible form. So, ask yourself, and answer with brutal honesty, am I living my life in a way that truly matches the version of me I claim I want to be? Am I listening to the subtle shifts and whispers of the universe? Or am I still demanding obvious, dramatic signs? Am I broadcasting the frequency of fear while paying lip service to belief? Am I genuinely tuned in, or am I just trying to force the frequency? The ultimate truth is that you do not need to try harder. You need to tune deeper, and when you do, when you finally align your energy, your actions, and your attention with the version of you who is already sovereign and free, the field does not hesitate. It responds, it mirrors, it magnifies, not someday, not eventually. Now, there comes a moment in every genuine transformation that feels like an unnerving void. A stillness so absolute, it is often mistaken for emptiness. But it is not a void. It is a vibrational silence, a sacred and holy pause in the space where the old identity no longer fits and the new one has not yet fully arrived. This is the liminal space that most people resist with all their might. And yet, it is precisely in this space that the quantum field performs its most potent and miraculous work. Because the moment you finally stop chasing, the instant you cease emitting the chaotic frequencies of fear, doubt, and desperation, that is the moment you become a pure, clear signal. And clear signals are what collapse realities. In the language of quantum physics, there is a concept known as decoherence. It signifies the precise moment that a system of quantum potential transitions into a classical, observable, and measurable state. The moment potential becomes form. This transformation does not occur through the application of brute force. It happens through coherence, through stability, through the quiet power of presence. And in the inner world of consciousness, coherence is born in silence, not the mere absence of external sound, but the profound absence of internal noise. The noise of incessant doubt, the static of overthinking, the desperate interference of needing to know how and when. When you can quiet that internal noise, not by fighting it, but by transcending it, you enter the quantum field with an extraordinary power. It is not the power of control, but the power of resonance. You become a perfectly calibrated tuning fork for the version of you that already exists, the one who is already living your dream life. You stop speaking from a place of lack. You stop asking from a place of fear. You stop vibrating with the desperate energy of, "I need this to change." And in that sacred space of surrender and trust, reality begins to bend. Not because you screamed louder for it, but because you finally whispered in the correct frequency. This is the great paradox of quantum manifestation. The less you desperately try, the more effortlessly it responds. The more you simply embody, the faster it mirrors your state of being. You are not attracting anything from the outside. You are not creating something from nothing. You are syncing. You are aligning. You are remembering. The life you so deeply desire is not a structure to be painstakingly built, brick by agonizing brick. It is a reality to be received, one sublime vibration at a time. You do not need to figure out all the steps. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to become available, utterly and completely available to the version of you that already knows, the one that already lives in a state of unshakable peace, boundless love, and infinite expansion. That version of you is not far away. It is quantumly entangled with you at this very moment. It is watching. It is waiting. It is silently broadcasting its signal, patiently waiting for your own signal to match its clarity. It is waiting for you to trust the stillness long enough to finally hear its call, to feel its presence, and to become it in fullness. So let this truth sink in slowly. Let it vibrate deep within your bones, beneath your skin. The great shift does not come with a loud fanfare or external applause. It comes in the quiet, subtle decisions, the ones that only you can feel, the ones that nobody else will ever clap for. It comes in the moments you declare with your entire being, "I am ready. I am clear. I am no longer vibrating in harmony with that which I have outgrown." If these words have brought you back to that place of inner clarity, if something inside you now feels quieter, stronger, and more finely tuned, then the shift is already underway. You no longer need external proof. You no longer need permission. The field is listening. The field is responding. The only thing left for you to do is to trust the process. And if you wish to continue this journey of aligning with your highest vibration, if you desire more content that doesn't just inform the mind, but transforms the soul, then gently subscribe to this channel, not merely to watch more videos, but to anchor yourself more deeply in this new reality. Because here we do not chase timelines, we become them. And those who choose to become are the ones who inevitably collapse potential into the magnificent reality they were always destined to live. In the end, it is not about changing your life. It is about changing your signal. And when your signal changes, everything else must follow.